So, good evening. Swagatam, Vanakkam. Bon, I don't know what bonjour, I don't know what that French. Okay. She is approved. That's all I need. So, it's a delight to me. I am delighted to be here talking about one of the great legends of literature with an upcoming legend or somebody who's already accomplished so much in the last several decades, the author of this book, we are Devika. We have known each other for 15 years or so, mostly through Tamil Heritage Trust and several other cultural events and activities. I think most of you know the author, and you're all eager to hear what she's got to say about this book. So without further ado, I would just start this conversation. We're just going to have a few generic questions and then we'll throw it open perhaps to the audience. First off, Devika ma'am, what prompted you to write this particular book?
Good evening. You know, let me divert a little bit because today happens to be 18th of April, which is World Heritage Day. And we are sitting in a heritage building. You know, this, I must congratulate Patricia Hart for the way she has looked after this building and brought about small changes around it. It's fantastic. And my association with this Alliance Française is more than 50 years old. And I'm sitting with Gopu, who belongs to Tamil Heritage Trust. And look at him wearing a kurta that has a calligraphy inscription copied, embroidered, copied from Kailasanatha temple's inscription. And I am wearing a Kalakshetra Kalamkari sari that has Nalagiri in it, painted. You know, this is the famous Nalagiri sculpture, fresco, would you call it?
It's a small sculpture on about a 3-meter slab, a 3-foot diameter slab in the Amaravati Gallery in Egmore Museum. It was originally in the Amaravati Stupa, now it's in the Egmore Museum.
Yeah, so it's heritage all combined. And what other heritage can we celebrate than Swaminatha Iyer, isn't it? Okay. So, Swaminatha Iyer, why is the question he asked me. I must confess to you, if you have not already read the book, you will not know, because in my author's note I have written that I am descendant of people who migrated from Maharashtra to Tanjavur. And so my ancestors are Maharashtrians. Marathi is my mother tongue. And my family, my great-grandfathers moved to Maison. So I was brought up with Kannada as my first language. And I came to Madras when it was still Madras, and I could not put together one sentence in Tamil. I had no knowledge of Tamil. I learnt both English and Tamil after coming to Madras, Chennai. And when I learnt Bharatanatyam as a 24-year-old, I started learning Bharatanatyam, and I had bought into the dance history narrative that came from European and North American historians, dance historians. I had bought into that narrative. And then I became a volunteer at Avvai Home in 1985. There, they asked me if I could help them direct a play on Muthulakshmi Reddy, a production. So I said, I started working on her. I started researching, and a completely new narrative opened up to me. And I said, my God, this is a completely different story. They are forgetting she is the founder of Cancer Institute, why she removed the Devadasi system, etc., etc. So I worked on Muthulakshmi Reddy, and as my dear friend Hema, my first reader, can vouch for it, I was really working through the COVID months, and really working on Muthulakshmi Reddy. After Muthulakshmi Reddy came Rukmini Devi Arundel, because she was also given a negative connotation by a whole lot of dance historians, and I needed to counter it. Muthulakshmi Reddy book became instant bestseller, and it's sold all over India. It won the South Asian Ladli Media Award for non-fiction, and Rukmini Devi, I started working on Rukmini Devi Arundel, giving the other story. While working on Rukmini Devi Arundel, I found out why she was called a reviver, because in 1943, the son of Uve Swaminatha Iyer, Kalyana Sundaram Iyer, goes to the Theosophical Society library and says he has this vast collection of books and manuscripts and letters and all those things that his father had collected. His father had expired in 1942. The Theosophical Society library did not agree to his condition of a separate gallery for this and a separate publishing program on Uve Swaminatha Iyer. Immediately Rukmini Devi said, I will take it for Kalakshetra. So she set up a library in 1943 on Uve Swaminatha Iyer completely. While she didn't only take the collection and keep it and give it a house, she started working on the collection itself. She looked at what all things he had, and she came upon Kuravanji tradition through the research she did in the Uve Swaminatha Iyer collection. And she did her first dance drama, Kutrala Kuravanji, in 1944. And she has written, I don't know from where I got the courage to do it, to choreograph a dance drama, Kutrala Kuravanji. That is why she was called a reviver, because Kutrala Kuravanji was there only as a text. There was no music available for it. There was no indication of choreography. She had consulted the Kuravanji tradition from the Devadasis, and she created a whole new production on it, which is why she was called a reviver. And so I said, my God, this man inspired her. I must get to know about him. And I asked a few of my Tamil friends, do you know Dr. Uve Swaminatha Iyer? Yaar, agriculture scientist. You know, people who have read Tamil. I said, my God, you don't know Uve Swaminatha Iyer. So I started going to the library. Dr. Uthamadhanapuram is here. He's the Tamil Pandit from the Uvesa library. I started looking at it. Then Rasika Ranjani Sabha gave me an award, Kala Seva Ratna award. And they said, you give a talk. I said, I'll speak on Muthulakshmi Reddy and Rukmini Devi. They said, why don't you add the third person? Why don't you bring in Uve Swaminatha Iyer? I said, I hardly know about him. I only know a little bit. So they said, you have 2 months, you work on it. So 2 months I really worked on Uve Swaminatha Iyer, fell in love with him. And so you must forgive me for whatever mistakes I may have made, though I sat with Dr. Uthamadhanapuram and showed him, read every page and asked him, which Hema insisted I do. So why Swaminatha Iyer is because of this, because I'm a teacher by heart, by, my first thing in life is teaching. So as a teacher, I need to bring things to the notice of people. So I wanted to tell the story of Uve Swaminatha Iyer, which is why I embarked on this project.
I just realized that there may be people here who are hearing about Uvesa for the first time. So can you summarize what he did in about 2-3 minutes?
Well, back of the book, I have written, is there anybody here who does not know anything about Uve Swaminatha Iyer? Okay, one person. Maybe Shamala, she comes from Cochin. She's a, she may not. Patricia, yeah. You have the book. Yes. So he goes about, he becomes a teacher in Kumbakonam College, And Salem Ramaswamy Mudaliyar, who was the munsif or the judge, asks him questions about what he has read in Tamil. And he gives list of books that he has read in Tamil. Then he says, just that? Don't you read older books? And Swaminatha Iyer is quite confused because he thought he was impressing this man, but he is asking him, have you not read any Sangam literature? He said, no. So he said, that is important for you to read. So he says, gives him a copy of Jivaka Chintamani, a Jain text, which copied from a manuscript, palm leaf manuscript, which had a lot of questions in it. I mean, for Salem Ramaswamy Madare, who was a judge there. And he starts reading it, and then he goes to Tiruvavadurai Madam, and there is another manuscript, and he compares the two, palm leaf manuscript, and sees the differences. The copying, there has been differences. So he says it means that there are more versions of it. So he starts going from house to house, traveling throughout Tanjavur district after his college teaching time. In his own time, in his own money, and those days when it was so difficult to travel, he goes all around begging, sitting in dharana and whatnot to get 23 copies of the Jivaka Chintamani. And because it's a Jain text, he goes around looking for Jain literature. He wants to know about Jainism. So he goes and meets Jains in Kumbakonam, who all had name Chettiar. Their names were Chettiar, but they were Jains. And they give him, very interesting story I have written. Somebody tells him there is a Jain street in Kumbakonam. Go there, there will be Jains who can tell you. He goes there, and one of the houses, there is a lot of decoration with palm leaf and mango leaves and banana trunk and all that, and lot of kolam, and people are all having a good lunch. And he says, is there some celebration going on? They say, we have just finished reciting Jivaka Chintamani, and this is the last day and we are celebrating it. You know, in earlier days, Ramayana, if they read in Hindu homes, they would celebrate Mahapattabhishekam day, calling everybody, the whole village, for a meal and celebrate it with great enthusiasm. Like that, the Jivaka Chintamani studying was over and they were celebrating it. He says, how many days have you been reading this? They say 6 months. 6 months he's been teaching Tamil Pandit in Kumbakonam College, and he didn't know that they were reading Jivaka Chintamani. Sivaka Chintamani is what one must say. And so he says, I want to know about Jainism. And so we come to the title.
Tell the story, yeah, title.
Title of the book, Aarohanam of a Bhavya Jeevan. Because he's asking a lot of questions, and this Chettiar takes him to another house which had that painting of the Jains, you know, which shows the different worlds and everything. And there the man tells him, my wife is a better, she has better knowledge than me. She has better knowledge on Jainism than me. You must talk to her, he says. Now, men and women could not talk to each other face to face those days. So she sits behind a wall and he sits this side, and he's asking questions, and from inside comes a voice saying, looks like he's a Bhavya Jeevan. The lady says, he seems to be a Bhavya Jeevan, which means it is the ultimate in Jainism, where a person who has arhate, that is qualification to not be born again, he has attained moksha. You know, that is a Bhavya Jeevan. So she says, looks like he is a Bhavya Jeevan. And this, Ovesa is completely thrilled to hear such a word coming from her. That means he is approved for reading Jivaka Chintamani. So he works and works and works, and please read the book to see how he goes about doing it. Everything enchanted me. You know, really, I actually studied Tamil for 1 year before I started writing, because I had not studied Tamil at all. I didn't know Tamil grammar. I could only speak a little bit Tamil. So for 6 months I had tuition 9 to 11 in the night online to study Tamil, because I wanted to read En Saritharam only in Tamil and not in English translation. And Janaki Raman's En Asiriya Piran. So I read those two in Tamil. There may have been some, I had to find out if it was, there's my Tamil teacher. She taught me Tamil. She's doing her PhD in Tamil, Nandini. So we read pages, and she would tell me about the sandhis, how the words are combined and what is the grammar behind it, etc. So for me, it was an introduction to treasure world, treasure land. That is why, yeah.
So she focused on one particular book, and her Ovesa's discovery of this book, how he tried to understand, couldn't, interacted with the Jain family for years and all that. But that launched just in a kind of a 2-paragraph context. What he effectively did was, from there he went on to study the 18 books called the Sangam literature, and 18 more books called the post-Sangam literature, plus the 3 of the 5 great epics, including Jivaka Chintamani. So this basically, these books were known only to a few dozens of people in the Tamil country, and they represent about 800 years of Tamil literature, from 300 BC to 500 AD. It's rough, and he brought that out so that every Tamil scholar and every average person could buy a book and read it. So it is the equivalent of the Europeans bringing back Renaissance, ancient Aristotle and Socrates, all of whom were forgotten because they were only reading Christian literature for 1,000 years. When the Roman Empire fell and it became a Christian continent, they had forgotten all the ancient Greeks. And when the Greeks revived, it was a huge thing. Imagine if England had forgotten Shakespeare, or France had forgotten Voltaire and his entire generation, or a century of scholars. Imagine that for 800 years. And that's what he revived. So that's why he is just an absolute legend.
I must tell you why here at the Alliance Française, because of the French connection. Okay. So, Swaminatha Iyer gets a letter in 96 to 98. He gets letters from France, from Paris. Julian Vincent, he was a French linguist who specialized in the languages of India, mainly Tamil. In 1903, he would be the first to create a Tamil language grammar in French, drawing extensive examples from Tamil texts. In 1879, he was responsible for teaching Hindustani, that is Hindi, and Tamil at the School of Living Oriental Languages. There he was a professor from 1882 until his death in 1926. And he writes a postcard to O.V. Swaminatha Iyer. See, this has been exhibited in an exposition in 1906. Okay, and what does the postcard say? Solungle.
Oh, this is incredibly hard to read.
Let me read from the book.
Uthamadhanapuram sir can probably read it better than me.
I'll read the translation. So Julian Vincent writes, normally he was writing your colleague and servant, you would sign. He was interested in the research conducted by Uvesa on Perungadai. He was delighted with the second edition of Jivaka Chintamani, edited and published by Uvesa. He wrote, it would help Tamil and Tamils greatly if you could edit and publish the story of Udayana. That is what he is saying here. I request you to reserve 2 copies for me when you publish it. We will send the cost through post. I pray for your healthy long life. Can you imagine? This is exhibited in 1906 in an exposition.
You can see the last line says, Tangal Anbanum Madiyanum, all in one word.
Yeah.
With your affection and your servant.
And look at the address. He has written, Head Tamil Pandit, Presidency College, Madras. Okay. And the college has written his proper address, 39 Pillai Street. And it says it's university property, this card. Isn't that fantastic? Yeah.
It's got all kinds of stamps over it.
Yeah. And then he writes a poem for Uvesa. I would request Miss Padmini to read. This is what she copied for me because it was in a... so can you read that, Padmini?
Yeah. Notice that this is in very chaste Tamil by the French scholar. And it's in the meter of the Sangamera, Asiriyappa.
பூதலம் செழிக்க முத்தீதனை வளர்க்கும் வேதியர் மரபை விளக்கத் தோன்றிய சாமிநாத நன் நாமப் பெரும புலவோர்க்கெல்லாம் இலகு திலக சேமமாகிய நேம நெறியுணர் அரும்பெறல் நூலின் பெரும் பொருட்பயனெல்லாம் கைமாறு கருதாது பெய்மாறி போல உலகோர் உய்ய பலகார் பொழிந்தோய் நின் அருள் கல்வி நேயம் கொடைசீர் நின்னர் குணமெல்லாம் இயான் ஒரு நாவான் நவிற்ற ஒண்ணுமோ உவகை அடங்குமோ தண்டமிழ் தழைக்க தண்டா ஊக்கம் துண்ணும் கருத்த நின்னொன்று கூறுவல் தகுதி ஆள மிகுதி கேண்மியா நிகரிலா புண்ணிய நிற்கே உருமென.
I'll read the translation. Thank you, Padmini. Thank you. May your world prosper.
Oh, please, give her a hand.
May your world prosper. Oh, you who have emerged from the lineage of the Vediyars, who nurture the 3 fires and perform the sacrifice. Oh, great son named Swaminathan, you are like a tilak, the zenith of all poets. The meanings of so many rarest books are like rain falling without any consideration for reciprocity. You have taught the world to savor grace, education, love, generosity, excellence, all these wonderful qualities of yours. Can I express them with my one tongue? No. Even if I am able to, will it quench my desire to describe you well? No. He writes. This is the... most of their conversation revolved around the 1,000 handwritten palm leaf manuscripts of Tamil works, some of which were incomplete. They were available to Vincent in the magnificent Bibliothèque Nationale, the National Library of France in Paris. Next slide. Vincent addressed these deficits because they were incomplete, the manuscripts were incomplete, by acquiring USA's publications. He also shared copies of some of these works with Uvesa, who was overwhelmed with gratitude for his beloved Tamil language being protected with such loving care by non-Tamils so far away. Which is the reason why I asked Patricia whether we can have this conversation here, because of this. Thank you.
Yeah. Tell us about the other connection to the library.
Which
this building and...
this is a heritage building. And okay. My publisher here, please come up. Mr. Karuna Prasad, K.S. Karuna Prasad, please come up. Karuna Prasad and I met because of Koothupatre, where he was the theatre person. Okay, so we met some 30, 40 years ago while he was an actor with Koothupatre. We know that Koothupatre was founded in this building because at that time the Alliance Française decided to become an NGO in India, and they encouraged avant-garde theatre experience of Tamils. Namuthu Swami and Sriram, whose brother Nandakumar is here, Sriram and others decided to start Pattarai. Pattarai means workshop. Koothu is theatre. Koothu Pattarai was started here. It became iconic theatre program that went, took Tamil theatre to various levels. Prasad worked as an actor with Kootupatre. He got trained there. He published his first book of Namuthu Swami's plays, isn't it? All were developed here at this building. Thank you, Prasad. Which is why I chose Bodhivanam, because I applied for a publication grant for Sangeet Natak Academy, and I had given two proposals, one on Mysore Vasudevachar and the other on Uve Swaminatha Iyer, and the committee decided on Uve Swaminatha Iyer. So I requested Prasad to publish it because of this connection, all these connections that we have had. His Bodhivanam published a lot of Tamil books. He has also published Justice Chandru's book in English, isn't it? Yeah. So I'm very happy to have this collaboration with Bodhivanam. Thank you, Prasad.
Let me throw in a tidbit here.
Yeah.
The reason why we spell Tamil and Telugu with a T rather than a TH is because the French were the first to write it with a T, and they pronounce it as just Ta. The English and the Portuguese are calling Tamil as Malabar and Telugu as Gentoo. And when the French wrote this spelling, that's the spelling that stuck. That's why we are calling them Tamil and Telugu now. Just a completely unrelated kind of a thing. But your point about Sangeet Natak Academy segues into my next question. The book is titled, it has 7 chapters.
Aarohanam.
And it mentions the word Aarohanam. And the 7 chapters are titled Sari, Gama, Pa, Da, Ni. Why those chapter titles? Why Aarohanam? And what is the Sangeet Natak Academy collection to Uvesa? Because he's not Rukmini Devi Arundel. He's not a dancer or a singer.
When I wrote Rukmini Devi Arundel, I divided the chapters into like a margam, Alaripo, Jatiswaram, Shabdam, Varnam, Padam, Tilana. I wrote it like that. Rukmini Devi's life, I wrote it like a margam. And Uvesa, Hema and I were discussing. And I said, I want to take the 7 notes, because this man keeps on working. He keeps on improving himself, keeps going up. And where does he reach? He becomes a Bhavya Jeevan, is my conclusion. Which is why I thought Aarohanam. I didn't bring Avarohanam at all. It's only Aarohanam. And he becomes a Bhavya Jeevan. And for that, look at that library, my God. So he, I have written in this book, in En Saritram, he writes about how he got some shawls and golden shawls that Ponnade that Ramanathapuram Raja had given him, and later when he gave a talk in that with that 500 rupees that he got, he sold the shawl to clear the debt for publishing some books. Okay, and then Madras University invited him to give talks. People travelled from various places to come and listen to him at the Senate House. But he had no money. He had a house in Tyagaraja Villas in Tiruvalikeni. All his work he had done under a Petromax lamp. He was reading palm leaves and all that. He got 500 rupees for those series of lectures. And with that 500 rupees, he got electricity connection for his house. And that it came on Karthikei was a big event for him, that the electricity connection came on Karthikei. That he sits under Petromax lamp or oil lamp, reads manuscript, keeps on comparing all the manuscripts and works on this is something amazing. And I'm a storyteller, so I have only told stories. I'm not an academic, I'm not a scholar. I'm only a storyteller who is telling a story that has fascinated me. And I want more and more people to get to know this story. That's all.
There is a very interesting story about the early life childhood of Uvesa. That was not his name. His name is Venkatraman, right? His father is originally named Venkatraman. And he was actually interested in music as a child. Family has a tradition of singing. And whom did he want to learn under? Tell us that story.
Meenakshi Sundaram Pillai. Yeah.
Before that, the music. Gopal.
Music. Music was in his blood. His father used to give Kathakalakshepams and all that. He had trained under Ghanam Krishna Iyer, his father. So music was there for him. When he goes to Mayavaram to learn with Meenakshi Sundaram Pillai, which was his dream of studying Tamil under Meenakshi Sundaram Pillai. That was something he just aimed for, because for him Tamil, that's what he wanted to learn. His father wanted him to learn some Telugu, Sanskrit, so that it will be useful for singing, because compositions are in Telugu. He wanted him to learn some Telugu. This boy was simply not interested in Telugu or Hindi or Sanskrit or anything else. He wanted only Tamil. And when they go to Mayavaram, his father asked Gopala Krishna Bharati, who was his friend, who also learnt with Ghanam Krishna Iyer, to teach this boy. This boy would get up at 3 o'clock, go and learn music and come back for his lessons at 5 o'clock with Meenakshi Sundaram Pillai. He knew Meenakshi Sundaram Pillai was very strict, and so he did not share this information with him. One day Meenakshi Sundaram Pillai meets Gopala Krishna Bharati and tells him, I have a new boy who is studying with me, he is singing well, you must listen to him. And he says, I know him, he is learning from me. And Meenakshi Sundaram Pillai is shaken, and he comes back and he says, you have to decide whether you want music or Tamil. So this boy chooses Tamil. He says, music is there in my blood, but it is Tamil that I want. And he stops going for. But he writes biographies of Ghanam Krishna Iyer, Gopala Krishna Bharati, Mahavaidyanatha Shivan, and so many stories he gives about all these musicians, of whom we would never have known, but for that the gentleman there told me that they have cut from Ananda Vigadan the series that he in 1940s, and they still have it in his house. They have bound them from Ananda Vigadan. So he has told so many stories about it. Now, if I keep on telling, then people need to read the book, isn't it?
Yeah. But it helps to know the context of some of these things. Because you cannot in 21st century imagine. Meenakshi Sundaram Pillai was a superstar of that era. A Tamil Vidwan was a superstar in demand everywhere. They kept inviting him to write poems. He wrote the Talapuranams of a lot of temples because the Matas at that time, the Saiva Adinams were very, and so wanting to learn under such a great scholar was a very important thing for Uvesa.
Uvesa. And Tiruvavadadurai Madam, now it is famous for the Talaikol that was given
Sengol.
to the, isn't
Sengol
it?
given during the
Sengol.
inauguration of the parliament and then revived again.
But it was there that he studied Tamil. It's unbelievable stories, I didn't know what to keep and what to leave out. There's so much. His Yensaritharam is so vast, so big. How much do you keep? But I am very conscious that I am writing for young Tamil teenagers who are not reading. They need to read English. They need to know the story of this person. So it is for young Tamil teenagers that I am writing. So I needed to write in a storytelling manner and in a simple manner, in an exciting manner, this story. I must tell you, I learnt from Uvesa one big thing. Okay, Sangeet Nadak Academy had approved my project, but they had not written a formal letter and all that. I was in a hurry to have it published on 19th of February, released on 19th February, which is Uvesa's birth anniversary. So where do I go for expenses to print? Uvesa had asked people for pre-orders, pledge the copies. So 3 rupees for Sivaka Sintamani. He got many people to pledge for pre-orders. So I asked 5 of my friends, would you order for 100 copies and give them to schools for prize giving? 100 copies each. 5 of my friends immediately, within an hour I got 500 copies sold. Immediately, before it was printed. Okay, this I learned from Uvesa. So now those 500 copies have gone out and 20 copies given to different schools to be given as prizes, because if young people are told go to the library and read, they don't. You give it as a prize, they may read. So 20 copies have gone to different schools from that 550 Prasad, 550 copies were sold before publishing, before printing. It was just amazing that it came together like that.
That's fun.
Meenakshi Sundaram Pillai, vere kadai sollaluma.
Illala. So there's same problem that we have writing the book. That original Tamil book by Uvesa is this thick, not joking. You can weigh it. And you said you talked about how to reduce that to a book that's small and readable. We have the same problem with the conversation, right? Yes. What shall we talk about and what not to talk about? Because you have not even mentioned Tyagaraja Chettiar, for example. He's a school teacher who offered him his job.
Who got him the job. Now you have to read the book. There is no other choice for you. Because if I keep on talking, I don't know how long this hall will be available for us, this space. What I want to show you, the last slide, we can discuss after this, if you don't have any more questions. So what I want to show you is on 19th of February, when I had it released at Kalakshetra, I asked my protege, I'm the mentor for Rukmini Devi Natya Kshetra in Mogaper. I said, why don't you choreograph what Subramanya Bharati wrote on Uvesa? And I have taken the last verse of what Subramanya Bharati wrote and put it in the first chapter. Okay? And I want you to see that. Because this is a hall that shows art, I wanted the sketch of Adimulam of Uvesa. Adimulam was an iconic modern artist, and he has sketched Uvesa. So I thought I should put it together. This video.
புதியமலை பிறந்த மொழி வாழ்வறியும் காலமெல்லாம் புலவோர் வாயில். புதியமலை பிறந்த மொழி வாழ்வறியும் காலமெல்லாம் புலவோர் வாயில். புதியறிவாய் அவர் நெஞ்சின் வாழ்த்தறிவாய் இறப்பின்றி புலங்குவாயே. புதியறிவாய் அவர் நெஞ்சின் வாழ்த்தறிவாய் இறப்பின்றி புலங்குவாயே. உடந்தை நகர் கலைஞர் கோவே இறப்பின்றி புலங்குவாயே. உடந்தை நகர் கலைஞர் கோவே இறப்பின்றி புலங்குவாயே. தாம் தத தாம் தாம் தத தாம் தீம் தத தீம் தீம் தத தீம் தோம் 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 தோம். தாம் தத தாம் தாம் தத தாம் தீம் தத தீம் தீம் தத தீம் தோம் 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 தோம்.
This is the line I have used in the first chapter. That's why I showed this excerpt from that dance. It was so sweet because Subramanya Bharati is the national poet, Tamil poet, whose poems have been nationalized, and he is the nationalist, national poet. And I used those two lines that were sung here. So long as Tamil lives, poets will venerate you and pay obeisance to you. You will ever shine as an immortal. Mahakavi Subramanya Bharati on O.V. Swaminatha Iyer. This is what I have started in my first chapter. So, I am willing to answer any question from anybody.
Floor is open to questions.
You know, I have also, I must confess, disclaim. Okay, disclaimer. In my author's note I have started, what tagudi does she have to write on O.V. Swaminatha Iyer? Several people may ask this question. It is a question I have asked myself. My ancestors were migrants to Tanjavur from Maharashtra during the Maratha rule. My family moved to Mysore. My mother tongue is Marathi, and I was raised with Kannada as the first language in school. When I moved to Madras, now Chennai, I could not put together a sentence in Tamil. Okay, etc., etc. And see, I worked a lot with folk artists, so I learnt a lot of rural Tamil of different dialects. Listen to them. So, Dr. G. Uthamadhanapuram, Tamil Pandit at the Mahamahopadhyaya, Dr. U.V. Swaminatha Iyer Library, who is here, patiently sat through my reading of the text to clear up any mistakes that might have crept in. I am very grateful for his encouragement to go ahead with the writing. He told me, "Ungal aarvame ungal tagudi." Your enthusiasm is your qualification, is what he told me. So, I am here. It's my enthusiasm that has brought this book. If there are mistakes, they are only mine, in my understanding. But if they excite you, I'm very, very delighted.
There are some mistakes,
Yeah.
but I will take a phrase from Uvesa's own quip, which is there in that book, because you have to read this. He had written something, and one scholar wrote a letter or a letter to the editorial saying, Adi Shankara has made certain mistakes interpreting Brahma Sutra, and I think Nachinar Kinayar made some mistakes while writing a commentary for Silapadikaram. And in those footsteps, Uvesa also followed and made mistakes.
He is making mistakes.
I said, I followed such illustrious people in making. What a compliment that person has given me. So, if you are making mistakes, you are following Uvesa's footsteps.
So, I have no fear of being wrong. You know, so willing to learn all the time.
We are in Tamil country where God himself is accused of making grammatical mistakes. So, it's okay, don't worry.
So, any comments, any questions, or if you have, we'll be happy to. Any discussions? Nandini.
Hi Ma, good evening. I'm so glad that I came here. I'm here. I used to look forward to our reading sessions because we just didn't read the book. I used to look forward to all the little stories that Devika ma'am shares. Suddenly we'll be reading and all of a sudden we'll go to 40 years back. And I used to get very excited for our reading sessions. She was a very, very consistent, obedient learner. I've learned a lot from her. And I just have one question. I'm curious about it. We call Uvesa as Manam Kata Iyer.
I wanted to tell the story. Yeah.
All right. I haven't finished the book, so I'm not sure if you have mentioned it there.
I have.
So the story about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
தமிழ் பண்டிதர் மானம் காத்த ஐயர் அப்படின்னா அவருக்கு பேர் வந்தது. இது என்னாச்சுன்னா, ஓகே, ப்ளீஸ் ரீட் இட்.
So yes, it's in the book. We are going to read it. Thank you.
தமிழ் புலவர் மானம் காத்த ஐயர் சுவாமிநாதன் அப்படின்னு அவருக்கு பேர் வந்தது. அது எப்படி வந்தது? I think the family members of the descendants of V.S. Krishnaswamy Iyer are here, and yeah. So I'm not telling the story. I'm just saying that they are here. That's all. Thank you, Nandini. Hema.
This is a comment more than a question or whatever, but I think you call yourself a storyteller. But I think we also need to acknowledge that there is a lot of the scholarship that goes into the book, which came with not just work, but the actual attitude of a scholar of wanting to know, wanting to acknowledge what you don't know, being prepared to be wrong, and being prepared to learn from the errors that you see yourself, which is a very rare quality in a lot of Indian scholars. And I'm not just Tamil scholars, but Indian scholars, where in this culture where we think teachers need to be right, people need to know. But how we come to know that and the attitude we need to bring into that learning was something that I saw. So,
thank you, Hema. Hema was such a strict first reader that she would ask me very difficult questions. And there was a time when I wrote Muthulakshmi Reddy, Rukmini Devi and Uvesa, all three books, there was a time when I was going to give up. And Hema said, Kalatha Purche, she made me continue because I was quite frustrated that she was asking me difficult questions. And but then, she advised me to go and read it to somebody who knows the content better. So I went and sat with Dr. Uthamadhanapuram and read it to him, and it is because of her suggestion that I did it, and that gave me confidence. Our okay madam and சொன்னதனால எனக்கு ஒரு தைரியம் வந்தது பப்ளிஷ் பண்ணலாமான்னு. Any other person? Padmini.
I have no questions. I'm just making a comment. I bought your book the day you had that release at Kalakshetra, and I read it in the next day. I mean, I've heard of him, I know of him as Tamil Tata, but I didn't know there was so much. So I borrowed this book from my friend, Avarodu the Tamil Suyacharitam. So I'm reading that. It's all your, after I read yours, I thought I must read this great man's book. Of course, going slowly because like he said, it's some 1,000 pages, going slowly, but I can see where you got everything from. Thank you.
Thank you. Patricia, I don't know if you know, Padmini is a long associate of Alliance Française. She studied French here, she taught French here. I've known her for 40 years. Thank you. Yeah.
So this book is basically the biography. What you've written is a biography of his life journey, is it?
It's a story, yeah, like a biography, but the stories. I have not included everything he has talked about himself. I want to introduce him to people who don't know him.
Okay.
And so the stories are very interesting. As I told you, I didn't know which one to keep and which one to leave. They're so vast. but those that interested me more than the others, I thought I should keep.
So for beginners, for
Yes.
children.
For people who don't know.
Who don't know.
There are a vast number of Tamil people who don't know. And I particularly want young Tamil teenagers
Yeah.
to read English, because we don't have good books in English for teenagers, Tamil
Yeah,
teenagers.
neither in Tamil.
Yeah.
You don't have.
So I want to write this
Thank you.
for them. I said good book, sorry, it's an adjective I should not use myself.
No, it's a good book, I can say that.
Thank you very much. We are done. So I'll be happy to write. If you would take copies, I'll be happy to sign.
I tell you that I got inspired by her story of asking her friend this to give us gifts to, as awards to
Prizes.
students. And so I bought a copy and gave it as a wedding present to a bride and groom. I've been gifting books now instead of just putting cash in envelopes or whatever. And hopefully I'll buy more. We'll send more of those.
Thank you. A lot of people bought my Muthulakshmi Reddy book and were giving as gifts to people, students and doctors, students, dance students and things like that, Muthulakshmi Reddy. And people told me that. Muthulakshmi Reddy sold like crazy. Within a month it had sold 16,000 copies. It was quite something. Rukmini Devi is not going that much. I don't know why, because I also talked a lot about Muthulakshmi Reddy, and Muthulakshmi Reddy is something that people didn't know about. Uvesa Tamil Tata and his story is of true grit. It's really that tells you that if a person can strive so much for doing something, for bringing out Tamil literature, every Tamil has a responsibility to know about him, isn't it? And tell others. That's all. So this is my thank you to the Tamil country which adopted me and has given me so much. Thank you.
So thank you to Alliance Française for hosting this. Thank you to Pooja for arranging the tea and all the other arrangements. Thank you, Mr. Jain, for recording. And thank you all for coming today and making this a pleasant evening. I hope most of you buy the book and recommend them to your friends. Thank you, Devika, for giving me an opportunity to talk to you about this.